You might have thought of changing colors of your photos at least once in your life, but the tool you knew might not have been good enough to satisfy your requirement. If I'm right, here I'm presenting you with 4 ways you can replace colors in Photoshop. Welcome to webtrickshome. Hey guys, welcome to webtrickshome. In this video, we'll be learning different ways of replacing colors in Photoshop. We'll be starting with the color replacement tool in the tools bar and then see the other options that can be used for color replacement. Alright, so the color replacement method number 1 is the color replacement tool. The color replacement tool is actually a brush tool and is present in the brush group in your tools bar. Select it and you can see a couple of options on the options bar. So let's go through them first. First option here is the brush tip preset, and this allows you to change the size, hardness, spacing, angle and roundness along with the options to control the size and tolerance with the pen pressure if you are working with a digital pen. We'll talk about the tolerance in a short while. Then you have got the blending mode, hue, saturation, color and luminosity that we have talked about in the brush tool tutorial, but we'll see it again here one by one. Then you have got the sampling option to define either you want to take color sample continuously while painting or just once. You also have the option to replace the color from the document that matches the background color in the color swatch. Then you can see the color replacement limit option that allows you to replace color from a defined area of the entire document. You also have the option to ask Photoshop to detect object edges and paint inside the boundary only. Then you have got the tolerance option from where you can specify the range of colors close to the sample color to be considered for replacement during the process. Then you can find the anti-alias option that will keep the edges of your brush stroke smooth. The last option is for the digital pen to control the brush tip size. Alright, so let's start with the blending mode hue that will replace the hue present in the object with the hue present in the foreground color swatch while keeping the lightness and saturation intact. Let's select color to replace the existing one. I'll be painting the red car, so let's pick the baby blue color from the other car. I'll opt for continuous sampling over here so that anywhere I paint, the color present there will be replaced with the foreground color. I'll keep the limit option at fine edges and the tolerance at 44%. Since this is a destructive way of photo correction, I'll duplicate the background layer and paint it so that the original layer is always available in case I need it later. Alright, then all you need to do is paint on the area where you want to replace the color. Make sure the crosshair, the mark at the center of your cursor, doesn't go beyond the area you want to replace the color so that you don't actually paint beyond the object. Take your own time and paint it slowly with shorter strokes so that you can get away with a few mistakes by hitting Ctrl or Command G. And you can see the output here. This isn't exactly the same color we selected in the foreground color swatch because the saturation and lightness is different here, only the hue is replaced. So this is the final output. Let's name it hue, hide it, duplicate the background layer again and go with the saturation blend mode this time. This blending mode replaces only the saturation of the object with the saturation of the foreground color while keeping the brightness and hue intact. Simply paint on the object and you can see the output. Since the foreground color is more vibrant, the object is looking more vibrant than it was before, right? Let's name it saturation and then hide it from the view. Make another copy of the background layer to work in the color mode. Let's name it color and start painting on the object again. And this blend mode in fact gives us a more real look of the color we wanted by replacing the hue and saturation of the object with that of the foreground color and preserving only the lightness of the object. That helps to create a more natural color replacement, and this mode is the most effective one and is mostly used for color replacement using the color replacement tool. So you can see the output here. Let's hide it and create another copy of the background layer and go with the blend mode, luminosity. This mode replaces only the lightness of the object with that of the foreground color. So you can see the result here, and this is the ugliest one, right? So you get the idea. I'm stopping over here. Let's do a quick recap. This is the result with the hue mode, saturation mode, luminosity and color mode. Now you can choose which mode you want to work with. Let's create another copy of the background layer to work with the sampling options then. Let's name it luminosity first. Select the newly created layer and let's go with the color mode. We have already seen what continuous sampling does. Let's go with the sampling once option then. Make sure your sampling size is the right one. I'll go with the point sample, but you can take up to 5x5 average as well. Now all you need to do is click on the color you want to replace and start painting without releasing your mouse. Unless you release your mouse, it keeps on replacing the color from the object that matches your sample color. This will allow you to move your mouse with a lot more freedom unless you have colors matching the subject in other areas of the document. If that's the case, it will paint those areas too. You can release your mouse and click on another area to take a different color sample and replace those colors too. These color replacement tools will respond to the limits and tolerance options too. Select discontiguous to replace color all over the document with a single sample. Move your brush outside the object to another area matching the sample color, and that area will be painted too. Here the tolerance level is too high, so the blue area is also painted. Keep it higher to paint over all colors, or keep it low to paint the sample color and a few shades that are close to the sample color. The standard tolerance value will be close to 30. You can use any value to your liking though. You can see here the blue car is not being painted. Let's move the mouse behind the car to the trees, which is also red, and you can see they are also changing to blue. To prevent the brush from painting areas far away from the object, select contiguous option from the limits. This will ensure only those areas are painted which are adjacent, or you can say connected to each other. Since the right edge is quite radius in this image, this tool won't work here, but if you had the same color in an isolated state at the bottom or the top corner, then it will not be painted. You got the idea, right? You can choose the option Find Edges instead if you want Photoshop to detect the edges of the object and prevent you from spilling the paint beyond the edges. That was what I was using initially, right? And with the sampling once option, you'll need to take sample a couple of times from different areas of the object to complete the color replacement, although they look similar. Let's see the anti-alias effect then. This is the brush stroke with anti-alias on, and this is the one with the anti-alias checked off. You can see the roughness on the edges of the second one, right? Let's delete this layer and create a new copy of the background layer to have a look at the last color sampling option, background swatch. Select it, and then all you need to do is pick a color from the object to the background color swatch. Click on the background color swatch and click on the color you want to be replaced. Hit OK, and the color will appear in the background color swatch. Now simply paint on the object, and the colors that are similar to the background color, depending upon the tolerance value, are replaced with the foreground color. Redefine the background color swatch if needed. So that's all about the color replacement tool. But what if there were some other options to replace colors rather than this laborious work of painting the entire subject, which requires a huge amount of time? This takes us to our second option, replace color, present in the image menu inside the adjustment options. This will require an isolated solid block of color. So let's close this document and work on another one where the color we want to replace is isolated. So the color replacement method number 2 is replace color adjustments. Here you can see the sweater is distinct in this image, only the eyes match the sweater color, and that won't be a problem here. Let's create a duplicate layer for safety and then go to the image menu to the adjustment options and replace color option at the bottom of the list. We have already learned about selecting a color range in our selection tools tutorial, so selecting a color won't be an issue here. With the leftmost eyedropper tool selected, click on the color you want to replace from the document, and you'll see the preview of the selection in black and white. White are the areas being selected. Make sure the selection is checked below the preview box, or else flat image will be shown there. You can increase or decrease the fuzziness to increase or decrease the area of selection, which works similar to the tolerance we saw before. Stop right there where areas other than the area being selected start to turn gray. If all the areas with the color you want to replace aren't selected, click on Add to Sample tool and add more samples. You can click on the document or the preview area itself to add or subtract from selection. Once the selection is made, all you need to do is go down to the hue slider and drag it either left or right. You'll see the color changed. You can also play with the saturation and lightness option to add more variation to the output. Alternatively, you can click on the result color box in the replacement section and select a color from the color picker dialog box that appears. Play with the saturation and lightness to match the subject and hit OK. Simple, right? Now you might have noticed that the color of the eyes are also changed. Let's bring it back to the previous state. All you need to do is go to the bottom of the layers panel and click on the icon that looks like camera. That's the layer mask icon, by the way. It will attach a mask to the selected layer, and you'll see the foreground background color swatch change to the default black and white. The mask color is white here, which means all the content of the layer are visible. Paint it with the black color and the areas painted black will be hidden. Got it? Let's do it. Select the brush tool, select the black color and paint on the eye with a soft round brush. There you go. You can see the previous color, right? But what it has done, it has simply hidden the eye from the current layer, and the eyes from the background layer is being visible here. You can use the same technique to make things visible or hidden anywhere in Photoshop. Let's delete this layer then. That was easy, right? But what if we had the same color in different areas within the document and we wanted to replace colors from certain areas? In such cases, this method would be ineffective, right? So what would be the option? The option would be hue saturation adjustment layer. So the color replacement method number 3 is hue saturation adjustment layer. In this method, we'll select the area where the color we want to replace is present. You can use any selection tool for the selection. All you need to do after the selection is go to the bottom of the layers panel and click on the circle icon, which is the adjustment layer, and select hue saturation. This will add a new layer mask on top of the selected layer, and you can see the hue saturation panel pop out. You can select one of the preset available from the drop down on the top, or you can even select the color range from the reds, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, and magentas you want to replace from the master option, and that will do the job for you without even needing to make a selection if you want to replace the entire range from the subject. Else you can play with the hue, saturation, and lightness just like we did earlier and generate a different color. As easy as you like, right? But sadly, none of these methods work fine with the black and white colors. Can't believe? Try it and get back to me. Don't worry, I'll show it here. Let's make the selection of the area first. Let's try the hue saturation adjustment layer. You can see that only the black color can be added to this white. You can try the previous methods too, and of course you'll fail. Let's go a few steps back to the selection. We'll need to use a different method for the blacks and whites. You can use it in other colors also. So let's see our last color replacement method on the list. And the color replacement method number 4 is solid color fill. So the selection is already there. All you need to do is go to the adjustment layer mask and select solid color from the option. Select any color. I'll go with the red here, and you can see how it looks initially. Let's change the blending mode of the adjustment layer from the layers panel. Generally, multiply and linear burn look better on whites, and screen and linear dots look great on blacks. You can try out all blending modes to see the output and select the one you like. I'll go with the linear burn. Now all you need to do is pick up your brush again and clean up the edges, as the selection was very rough here. If the selection was clean, you would have to do nothing here. So you can see the final result here. And this is the method we use when transforming black and white images to color images. Alright, and that's it. You have learned all 4 methods you can use to replace the color in Photoshop. If you know other methods, let me know in the comment and I'll check them out for sure. And guys, seriously, I don't get much comments on my videos, especially on the Photoshop ones. Let me know you are there. Give me a thumbs up. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe our channel for more videos. Thank you.